That's what I should say. Hey guys, welcome to the Our Anime Podcast. Today we're talking about our impressions of the summer season so far. And I think we're at like 4 or 5 episodes for most shows. Something like that, so just make sure you've seen like up to there around. Today joining us, we have 17 writers.
Yo.
And we have our newest member, Fate Steel Taylor.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And I'm Smurfrock Rune. So I guess we'll just get right into this and talk about some of the more popular shows this season, like who has the most watchers on Mal, stuff like that. So we can start by talking about Orange, which is my personal favorite of the season, which is shocking because I don't like shoujo and it's not action and it's drama, and so I don't know how I like it, but yeah, I really like it. I think the premise is pretty interesting, and I think there's enough that it doesn't tell us to keep me interested in like what we find out next episode.
Yeah, I think Orange is definitely one of the better shows coming out this season. I started it and was like a little bit concerned because it didn't clearly show early on that that she was receiving multiple letters, and so for the longest time I thought she was just receiving one letter and reading it along, and I was like, why do you not read the entire goddamn thing? But once that like kind of got cleared up, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't like...
so I thought she got one letter, so clearly it didn't clear it up for me very much. Is she getting like one a day? Is that what it's doing?
I think so. In the latest
one every couple of days.
Yeah, in the latest episode they kind of showed it a little more clearly, but it's obvious that they're trying to adapt a lot of source material, so they're skating over stuff a little bit.
Okay, makes sense. I don't think that's like a detail that like absolutely needs to be shown, though.
No, it's
Right.
not. It was just something that was personally bothering me because I was like, this would just be so stupid if she were like, why would you not read the entire thing? There's literally no reason not to.
That's shoujo manga logic, man.
Yeah.
Shoujo manga logic.
But outside of that, no, I think the characters are well enough written. It seems like it's going for a decent story. It's not something that's like absolutely blowing me away, but the mechanics are interesting and it looks fun. So I'm definitely down for this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Going into the season, I think this was my most highly anticipated one, just because I had heard a lot about the source material and how great it was. I knew I had read the first chapter a long time ago, just on a whim, and didn't pick it back up. But it's been a lot of fun, and then I really like the time travel aspects of it, and I thought they did a really good job of getting Hiroshi Hamasaki to direct it, because if you're going to adapt a drama, time travel source material into an anime, why not get the guy who directed Steins Gate to lead your show?
Oh, okay.
That seems like...
I didn't realize the same guy.
Yeah, neither did I. Until I was looking it up, and I was like, oh, so that's in good hands.
Yeah, definitely.
So I really like it. And so I'm excited for that, to see how he takes it. And then, of course, I really love Hanakana's performance in there so far as the main. For a show like this...
I didn't know that either. I don't do my research on these things.
You couldn't tell it was Hanakana? She has a very distinctive voice.
I am really bad at picking up Japanese voice actors. Like, if they aren't in JoJo, I'm not going to recognize them.
You know, as long as you can pick them up when they're in JoJo, because that's really the only important
I hear
show.
Daisuke Ono's Yada Yada today, and I'm like, yes, this is amazing. But other than that, it's just I don't...
But yeah, so Hanakana, I think, is really important for a show like this. The other voice actors I really don't know well, but Hanakana, I think, is important in a show that's so driven by one character and her inner thoughts and monologues and varying emotions. Like, you really need someone who can hold down the fort.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, you'd want to get a big name like her, and I mean, she's doing a good job. The character sounds believable enough to me, so...
Yeah, I mean...
she's done her job, right?
I'm sure if we had someone who wasn't selling it quite well enough, it would the entire show would fall flat, because, as Fate was saying, so much of it is in her head. And personally, it's the show, I think, right now that I'm most excited for the next episode as it comes out.
Yeah, because I think the last episode ended like on her saying like maybe she can change it again this time.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know, I when I heard something like that, I was like, wait a minute, does that mean that this isn't the first line? Like, it makes me wonder, like, and I'm sure they'll explain it, but I really wonder, like, how the letters got to the past.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's honestly what a lot of the show is going to ride on for me. If they do a good explanation of the time travel mechanic and it ends up being something that logically makes sense, I'm probably going to love this show because it's so rare that time travel is done right. If they kind of leave it as a just because, or even worse, they end up trying to create a logic for it that doesn't work, ultimately the show, I think, will fall flat for me, and that's a lot of what this show is going to ride on, because they're clearly doing a good job on the characters, and that's the big question, the big if of whether or not it'll do that well.
Yeah, at this point, I'm kind of expecting it to just be, we have time machines in the future. I don't know.
I don't know if that exactly. They seem to, because it doesn't seem to be that far off into the future.
Yeah.
It's like
10 years, I think.
Yeah, 10, 20 years. But I don't know. I'm more than that. I'm just excited to see how they handle the character drama, because the relationships seem really strong, and I don't know. It's almost like a reincarnation, like another life story, and that's like one of my favorites. So I'm really excited for that, and it also gives me a lot of parallels, and I know this is an anime, but it also gives me a lot of parallels to The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh,
okay. I haven't seen that or read it.
It's pretty good. But it's also like, it starts off and you're like, oh, I know this is gonna be a field trip, like from the get go. Like in The Fault in Our Stars, it's a book about kids with cancer, so like you know what you're getting.
I never read
into.
The Fault in Our Stars, but I read John Green's other book, which hints at its field trip pretty solidly from the beginning as well. So I kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is this book a travel guide to the 50th state of America?
that one. Fucking hell.
As someone who doesn't know like Western literature, I am like so confused right now. I don't think I need to worry about it though. One thing that I really like about Orange is it's not like your traditional time travel. Like, you don't actually have the characters themselves going back and forth in time. I think that helps keep a continuity a lot better when you don't have constant time traveling and constant changing of history and futures and all that. I really like when, I think it was like episode 2, which, how many episodes are out right now? 3, I think, at the time of recording?
No, I think 4. I think the 4th one just released this week.
4?
Yeah, we're up
like
to
that.
4 now, I think.
Okay, I really like, it was like episode 2 or 3 showed the future for the first time, and you saw Naho and Sua, I think, are their names.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
like,
at the end of episode 1.
And they're like married and they have a kid, and then like the next episode, like you see, like you can kind of see in like their facial expressions, like how their feelings are developing now at this point. So I thought that was really interesting. It's like you can see where they're going to end up, but they're not on the road to that yet. But then you can kind of see them starting onto that road. And I thought that was just a really interesting, like, something I've never seen before.
Yeah, and okay, this is just a serious, like, oddball theory for, like, what's going to happen, and it probably isn't. But the impression that I'm getting right now of the direction they're going to go with it is that, it's not necessarily, like, literally, but they're going to make this, time travel thing of like going back in time and fixing the past almost as kind of like this metaphor for a hypothetical, and then have Naho towards the end end up realizing that she actually like really needs to kind of stick with the life that she has here and stop living in the past. And that's one of the possibilities that I'm seeing for how it's going to go.
See something like that happening. Yeah,
I think it's more going to be Can we talk about the first episode, like, spoiler-wise, I guess?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I think first episode should be fine. I'll put it like a timestamp or something so people can skip it if they want to.
Yeah. I mean, in the very first episode, they tell us that Kakeru is no longer with them anymore.
Right.
And so Naho, and as you said, Naho is with Sua, they have a kid. That's all in the very first episode, which I thought was, like, a shocker. Like, wow, you're going to reveal that from the start?
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. Like, I thought maybe that, like, oh, they just don't talk anymore or something. But it's like, oh, no, he's dead. Okay.
So I was like, So what I think is going to be happening, and I haven't read the source material, is what I kind of want to see them develop in it is the idea that maybe the destination doesn't change, but maybe the journey does, because she talks about all the regrets she has. Like, she regrets not doing this, not doing this.
Not doing the baseball thing,
like,
not...
Right.
That's really interesting.
Not doing the... And then not being able to, like, make lunch for this guy, or, you know, all that stuff. And then saying, like, she really regrets it. And then we see her still not being able to do some of those events, even though her future self is like, do this. Mm-hmm. But I feel like... And she's like, maybe we could have saved Kakeru.
Right.
And maybe they don't, or maybe they do, but I think what it's going to try to tell us is, like, you know, you can't change your fate, but you can change how you get there, kind of deal.
That's neat. Yeah, I'm personally a fan of, like, really bittersweet endings. Like, to me, like, having, like, happiness kind of mixed with sadness gives me the strongest emotional reaction, I think. And so I would love to see that personally, something along those lines.
Well, an orange is kind of bittersweet, I guess. It's got, like, a acidic punch to it at the end.
maybe that's the meaning.
Oh, damn. What if we should spoiler tag our speculation, guys.
Fucking decoded orange, we know the answer.
Orange is the erased killer.
Same.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, orange is good. I think I'm glad that we all like it, because I don't even know why I picked it up. I don't like the type of show. I was just like, yeah, I'll watch it, why not, whatever. And then it actually ends up being one of my favorites of the...
Yeah, I literally just picked it up so I could talk about it for this, and I do not regret it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, when the airing shows started, I was extraordinarily busy, and so I was literally only watching 99 Days, and so I picked up the rest of what we're talking about, which... It was fun.
99 days?
91 days.
I was like, did we get, like, a sequel to 91 days?
Yeah.
If you want to, we can actually use that as a segue to go into 91 Days.
Sure, why not?
That would be a perfect segue, yeah.
But it's not Days, the soccer anime. It's 91
so you have
Days.
Regular Days.
The
91
the mobster anime, which is actually... I have mixed feelings about this one.
Yeah.
Every episode has stuff that I don't care about at all and am bored, but it always does a handful of things each episode that I find really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So without getting any spoilers, usually the episode endings are usually really strong compared to, like, the middles. But I find it weird that we have an anime about, like, prohibition in America. I think it's in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where. Like,
no, I mean, what other country had prohibition?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a history buff.
Yeah. I actually felt kind of the opposite way that you felt about the first episode, though. I think the first half of the first episode is the strongest part of the show so far, like, by miles.
The beginning of the first episode I thought was really good. And then...
It's one of my favorite first episodes of all time, because it fucking nailed just, like, everything in that first half of the first episode, which is what has me hopeful that this is going to be one of my favorites ultimately, even if the rest has been lesser than that. Like, I'm hoping they're building up to an ending that will be of the same quality.
I really love the credits at the beginning after the first 15 or so minutes happened.
Yeah.
I was like, is that it already? But it definitely gave it the sense of, like, the old mobster movies. And of course, the logo is an homage to The Godfather.
Yeah.
So they definitely know their
I get
stuff.
it. I was wondering why that looked familiar. I was like, that logo looks... I know I've seen that before, but
and the main character comes off to me a lot as, like, an angrier Vito Corleone, to be honest. Like, angrier and more ruthless. Like, that's the impression that he always gives me, where they're kind of making that homage to The Godfather, but also making clearly their own thing.
Right.
Which I'm hyped for. Like, the first 3 episodes I thought were really solid. I wasn't a huge fan of the latest episode, but I'm still really looking forward to the show as a whole.
The latest episode felt like a necessary evil, because you can't, like, be super hype every single week.
Yeah, exactly. It just felt a little bit... Like, the rest of it felt, like, really grounded. Like, even with Fango, who was kind of a ridiculous character, like, the story felt very real. And this latest episode felt very cartoony to me.
Yeah, it did. Like, I remember I was watching it, and I was like talking to some friends at the time, and I'm like, 91 Days is a mobster anime about prohibition. We have a nun with a piñata. This guy has a poncho. They're freaking juggling. I don't even know what's happening anymore. Like,
yeah, and we did get some great interactions between like our two leads this episode, though. So it wasn't a complete waste. But episode 4 to me is the weakest act so far.
Right. Of course. Yeah, there's no argument for me about that. What I'm really interested about this is when it's getting a dub, because I feel like this is gonna be one of the best dubs we've gotten in a while.
it might be like a Baccano style dub.
Yeah,
exactly. So you get a bunch of Brooklyn accent kind of guys. You get upstate New York.
Do you know if
maybe Chicago people?
Do you know if anybody's licensed it yet?
So Crunchyroll has the license to stream this, not Funimation. Funimation is usually the guys who do the simul dub.
Yeah, Funimation does the broadcast dubbing.
But Crunchyroll, if I remember correctly, last month or so, recently said they were gonna start dubbing.
Yeah,
anime.
they're gonna be doing home release dubs of like the only three I come to mind. They're doing Kabaneri, Gate, and Gintama.
interesting.
Right.
So
I was thinking this would be a great anime to dub.
Oh, for
this
sure.
could just like Bakuno has a great dub. I think this, because it's set in America.
Yeah, if you have
course.
American characters, then obviously it's going to be more suited than a show that has Japanese characters to have English voices. That's just common sense.
Right. So.
Yeah. Another thing that I just kind of want to note about the show is just a couple of things in relation to the studio, which personally has me really intrigued. Which I know
It's a studio Shuka, right?
Yeah, which is the studio that basically split off as kind of a passion project to finish adapting Durarara. And
they split off of Brain Space.
Yeah, they went off of Brain Space, who never does sequels. I mean that's the joke anyway.
Madhouse, Brain Space, all the same thing.
Yeah,
anyway. Nobody does sequels anymore.
Yeah, and so the person who was doing it was like, yeah, I really want to finish Durarara. We like Durarara. We like Baccano, and we don't like the fact that neither of these shows got finished. Let's go and make our own studio to finish Durarara. And so they did that, and now this is their first, like, big kind of original series that they're breaking through, which to me has me personally excited, because it's obviously going to have bumps, because it's a very new production. They haven't, like, established their own style yet, but it's also going to be people who are very eager to, like, prove themselves and get started as these kind of new people without an identity and seeking to build it. So I'm kind of excited to see what it ends up being.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the director for this is one of his, like, first 3 or 4 shows he's directed. I think he's done...
Yeah.
I mean, I could look this up, but I think he's done Kimi Toroke, the 2 seasons, and he's directed episodes a bunch here and there.
Yeah, but he hasn't done much.
This is like his first real thing.
Yeah, I looked through the entire production staff, actually, because I was curious enough about this, and I, like, almost no one on the staff has, like, done very much of note, but there are a lot of people who have been, like, in smaller roles on productions of, like, really famous shows, which has me personally really excited, because that seems like the perfect kind of storm, to me at least.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You got a bunch of people who know what they're doing and want to prove themselves and have something they clearly care about.
Yeah, and so if this team makes 91 Days, like, just even like a really good show, not even a great show, I think that in the future this team is going to go on to do some really amazing things and start building a better identity. I mean, that's kind of what happened with Trigger, right? Which is one of the most innovative studios putting things out right now.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because they split off of Gainax. Although, I mean, even from the split from Gainax, it's not like they changed that much.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and they had a lot of experienced veteran staff. I mean, Imaishi is one of the most known and prolific directors out there. I'm just hoping it's more of a, say, Kill la Kill or Rolling Girls, more than a Comet Lucifer, which was also the first original anime of Studio 8-Bit. And that was not good.
Yeah.
That's like, the nicest way to put it is, it's like one of the 5 worst anime I've seen. That's like the nicest way I can put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't expect 91 Days to fall apart. I feel like it'll stay pretty consistent or maybe go up a little bit, but I don't think it'll.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to worry about it too much. It's clearly going somewhere.
Yeah, I think at worst we're going to get an uninteresting midsection. Just judging by the last episode, we might might be a possibility. But I can
see that.
I'm pretty sure it's going to have a solid ending because this is a show that, to me, screams that of like people who have a very serious direction that they're going with it and kind of know what they're doing with the overall story. So I think we're good on the ending, and obviously I liked the beginning. So it's just the middle that like could end up falling a bit flat of what its potential is.
Right. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting as we go to see more of the main character, whose name I can never remember.
Yeah.
Because
he has so many.
Well, because he has 2 names.
On his he's like a revenge journey or something, and it's really interesting as the show goes on, where you see how he's connected to all the other characters around.
Right.
Like some people that's like, oh yeah, they're like really good friends and they work well together, and you find out it's like, oh, he's actually seriously wronged the main character in the past, and the main character's not going to forgive that.
That's not a thing you easily forgive.
Yeah.
Essentially, he killed his dog.
Yeah. So that's 91 days. I guess we're all pretty interested in seeing how it goes from here.
Mm-hmm.
We can move on to our next show, which is another show I think we're probably interested in seeing how it goes. Is Mob Psycho 100.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think the majority of people are watching this because of One Punch Man.
Yeah.
I think one kind of sold us on that.
That's a safe assumption to make, yes.
But I feel like it's falling flat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'd stand by that.
I don't know. Like, I will probably end up watching it because I didn't rate One Punch Man that highly, but I did enjoy it for what it was and feel like it did a pretty excellent job of being the kind of unique thing that it was, and so I'm excited to see more from this writer, but I just don't see any direction in Mob Psycho. Like, I don't see anywhere it's going that's interesting, and there's nothing. Yeah. There's just nothing that's pulling me in.
There doesn't seem to be like an end goal of any kind. I mean, I guess there wasn't in One Punch Man either, but
but One Punch Man had its kind of like one joke to ride off of, and then also managed to pull out some like surprisingly emotional moments. And also had this really unique, like, large cast of interesting characters, whereas there's just I'm just not getting invested in any of the characters in Mob Psycho yet.
Yeah. I think it's also going to be hard to get invested just because it's still running, so, like, even the web manga doesn't have an end goal.
Yeah.
Because it's not ending. But, I don't, like, of course, not only did it have the same source material author as One Punch Man, but a lot of the same staff who worked on One Punch Man for quote-unquote Madhouse are now working for quote-unquote Bones. Since, I mean, it's just an umbrella, just like whoever's financing them at this point. But you can definitely tell, like, the art style is very similar to the One Punch Man, Kill la Kill, Trigger-esque drawing style.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, it looks gorgeous. I don't think anyone can deny that.
It looks really cool.
It's very cool and unique in how it looks, for sure.
Right. The story and the characters are super lacking.
The characters, actually, the thing, the investigator, like the phony investigator guy, upsets me so. I cannot stand him, his character. I'm honestly wishing they'll just kill him off and then progress from there, because I think it'll be a lot better.
Yeah, and I guess here's kind of the thing. The stories that are normally like this, where you have this guy who's kind of like entangled in a web of lies and trying to like keep it up and stuff like that, normally those are fun because you have some reason to be invested in his lies. But as it stands right now, we're just kind of thrown into it with no introduction, and so we're just kind of following him as he bullshits his way through situations, and we're like, why are we supposed to care about this guy?
Yeah, he's just some guy who pretends to be a badass, isn't, and makes some middle schooler do all his work for him. And it's like, there's nothing there to like make me like him at all.
And there's nothing there to make me like terribly hate him either. He's like, there's nothing there to make me passionate about his character, I guess is what
he's just a waste of
Yeah,
space.
if he were like extraordinarily like dislikable but really like charismatic, like that would be cool. But there's just nothing to make his character pop out. He's just kind of a mild asshole who's like manipulating a middle school kid. Well, okay then. And the middle school kid himself is just really bland. I mean, his character trait is that he's bland and like not interested in much and like wants to go out with a girl. And so it's I don't know. There's nothing about this show that makes me like excited to watch another episode. It's just kind of like, oh, that was there. All right.
And then to talk about one thing might be kind of spoilers for the latest episode, which is episode 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 4.
I'm
3.
Awful at keeping track.
Oh wait,
of
no,
it.
is it 3?
I just clicked the.
It's
It is
3.
3.
There's only been 3.
Yeah, you're right.
I just clicked
right.
the pretty plus button on Mal and just let it take care of itself.
yeah, it's 3.
But the whole show so far has been, and even the synopsis, it was like it's going to build up where like his psychic powers, like his like percentage raises as the show goes on, and I was like, when it gets to 100, like something big is going to happen. It's going to be the big climax, and then it happens like really early, and then nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he has like superpowers now, and then it's over, and he goes, okay, now he's back to 0, and now the show goes on. It's like we're a quarter in, and that's the big reveal.
Yeah.
He beats a guy whose power is smiling. Like, I guess a bit more of a spoiler than I meant to go for, but
I think the thing with this and One Punch Man that I noticed is it's kind of a weakness of its source material and of trying to stick too closely to the source material, because this is a web manga originally, and it comes out like daily, at the latest weekly, and it's something you just like breeze through, like I guess on your commute or on your computer, just like in a couple minutes, and then you're on your way.
Right.
And if it's in that capacity, I think it works well. Because, like, there's not enough of a story where you have to be like, oh gosh, what happened, like, 200 chapters and 4 years ago that's suddenly relevant.
Yeah.
Like Detective Conan or One Piece will do to you.
right.
Yeah.
But but it's also got enough hype to keep you invested to coming back to see, like, oh, I wonder what they'll do this week. So it's very low entry.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But for an anime, like, you have to be concentrating for 24 minutes.
Right. But so do you think...
And so it doesn't translate well across mediums, even less so than like a normal manga.
So do you think that this would work better if they just adapted like larger swaths of it in a single episode? Like condensed everything we have now into one episode or something like that?
I don't know how the pacing would go for that, or because in that case, then how do you handle like the small mini arcs? How do you decide what to skip?
Yeah, and that
think
is a good question. I do feel like probably what you do is end up skipping and montaging most of the mini arcs that aren't going to be plot relevant.
But then you piss off the source readers, and then you piss off the author.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I think for something like
it kind of sounds like
yeah.
they should have taken. They should have tried to do like an ONA or an OVA format, like what Planetarian is doing right now, which is one that I wanted to talk about. But the episodes are all varying length. The first one was 18 minutes. The second was 13. The third is 20 something, and then another 20 something. So like it's just because they don't that one's not being broadcasted on the air, so they can do whatever episode length they want, whatever they need, they have. So I feel like it might have been in a interest, and I'm sure that's a really hard thing to get, which is why we don't see it very often, but I feel like it probably would have been better for Mob Psycho to have a format kind of like that, where it has its own schedule that it can follow.
Right.
Or even if it was like a 13-minute or 7-minute short week to week, so it only, like, sometimes it'll try to do like 2 arcs in an episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you could really just get by with doing 1 arc for like 7 minutes. That's really all you need for something like this.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. That might work a lot better if they did it like largely shorts or something.
So. I also don't think like it's trying to capitalize on the hype of One Punch Man, but it's definitely not as popular as One Punch Man was.
Yeah, One Punch Man was just like off the scales. Like I would look on Facebook and people that don't even watch anime are going nuts about One Punch Man.
Yeah.
But
I don't see anything about Mob Psycho. Like anywhere but Reddit, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
You mentioned shorts. I do have a show that I wanted to mention. that is a short. It's Saiki Kusuo no Psi-nan,
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
The English title that Funimation's given it is The Disastrous Life of Saiki K.
Okay.
And it's basically, I just call it Better Sakamoto.
Okay.
It's like a 4 to 5 minute short. The main character is born in a normal world with psychic powers. And he can do anything. He can teleport. He can see the future. He can blow stuff up. He can move things. He can read people's minds. He can do whatever he wants. But he doesn't want the attention. So it's just him trying to get by normal life without drawing attention to himself. With his bright pink hair. And antenna. So that's a fun one, I think, because that's the show where they know that they couldn't fill in an episode,
Right.
so they do shorts. And I guess I kind of feel like Mob Psycho should have done something like that.
Yeah.
But I recommend checking that
Yeah.
out because it's really short and it's easy to watch. Although the release schedule's a little weird, they do one every day.
Whoa. That's how many episodes is that?
They're
gonna
at
be?
20 right now. I think it's gonna be 85
Holy.
by the end.
Wow.
No, thank you. Holy crap.
But it's all gonna add up to one core length.
Yeah.
See, that's
So-
another thing I really like about 91 Days, because it's going to be over the course of 13 weeks, which 13 times 7
91. Yeah.
is 91 days.
Nailing it. I didn't realize I was doing that. That's awesome.
Although the show doesn't seem to have a consistent, like, I still don't know the relevance of 91 Days other than the seasonal run, which
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to name a show after how long it took to air.
Yeah, I'm
You never know.
I'm
also
also
like-
sad that it isn't that right now, because one of the things about the title is like, honestly, I thought the title kind of had this really like ominous feel to it, and I was like, oh, is it gonna like start counting down throughout the show? And then it's like, no, it's kind of ignoring the whole 91 days thing, which maybe it'll come in later. But
I don't even know what day they're on.
yeah,
I mean, there's been 4 episodes, so it's like
But
day 30.
the thing is, at the beginning of each episode, instead of saying like for the latest, instead of saying like episode 4, it said day 4.
yeah,
oh,
So
really?
Yeah,
we're only
it did.
4 days in. What about the other?
we're not
80
4 days in. They've passed
87
multiple days
days?
per episode. It's just like how they had it at the beginning of like say Shokugeki no Soma, like first dish or whatever, and just like,
Yeah, I think it's doing
just
something like
like-
that. But it's
Yeah.
still like it's
They-
kind of confusing a little bit.
yeah, it is confusing. It's kind of weird.
I don't know what they're doing.
Maybe they just got the narrator from Days, and he got mixed up, and he's like, it's the 4th episode of Days. But they're like, he's definitely not saying it's the 4th episode of Days, so he clearly must be saying the 4th day.
Yeah,
Is anybody here watching Days?
no,
I am. I'm watching Days. It's a lot of
You
fun.
are? Okay.
It's paced like a sports show that's aimed at a younger demographic. So if you're expecting that, that's what you're
I can
gonna get.
definitely see that.
So it's fun. It's not anything like, oh my god, amazing. But it's pretty good.
I've actually dropped it at this point. I dropped it after 2 episodes because I hate the main character's guts.
oh yeah.
But I went into it expecting the soccer equivalent of Haikyuu.
Oh
And
god. Oh
I
no.
basically got the soccer equivalent of Prince of Stride.
No, Prince of Stride was like really fun.
Oh, I dropped
I
that too.
Oh, I enjoyed Prince of Stride. Like, as someone who enjoys running, like, it was a really cool concept.
It was a cool
looked
concept. I
great.
just think it
okay.
The
What's the
character
concept of
plot.
that?
it's like a free running sport.
Huh?
So, like,
Baton relay
it's
race?
like a relay race where, like, you also have obstacles and, like, you have to parkour.
Okay.
And you have, like, a group of teammates. And so, like, and then you also have to, like, time your run. So, like, when you slap the other guy's hands, you only have, like, a certain amount of space to do it. So you have to time it up fun.
That's interesting.
And it was fun.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Fujo bait to it. Hanakana was also there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know if I'd recommend it. I gave it a 5.
Going back down.
But it was a lot of fun.
Shows
Yeah,
with
I had
fives.
issues with characters in that show, but I'm kind of having the same issue with like Days, where I feel like, I mean, I don't have the most expertise in sports shows. I've seen Haikyuu, but like the main character in that is like, you know, he always idolized like the little giant, and he always wanted to be that position of volleyball. Or you have something like Hunter x Hunter, who's like going like, oh, he's always wanted to know like why his dad thinks being a hunter is so cool, so he wants to be a hunter. The Day's main character is just, he suddenly has a huge passion for soccer because.
Huh.
It kind of reminds me of Baby Steps,
which I can
because
comment
main
on,
character.
but...
Yes, because Baby Steps has a character named Eiichiro.
Yeah, Eiichiro, yeah.
Who never played tennis before in his life, and one day he just like picks up on it and he's like, I want to be really good at this, and he sucks terribly at the beginning, of course, but like he works incredibly hard at it, and he brings like his own, like, because he's a very academic student, he brings that part of it into his game, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's a really nice,
and you kind of get it.
It's a really nice transition too, because he doesn't just instantly like dump himself into tennis and is like, tennis is my life. There's this kind of like slow development to where he's hitting a point of like, oh, I actually really want to do this all the time. That's also kind of coupled with him probably having a crush on a girl. So,
I mean, who can blame him?
fair.
It's not Suchan.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
well,
fair.
That's kind of what Days is. It's the main character just out of nowhere is soccer is my life now, and he's like running for like hours and hours and hours, like to the point where his feet are bleeding. Like on day one, it's like, why do you have such a massive passion for sports out of nowhere, or for soccer out of nowhere? And it looks like Pikachu. He has the stupid red cheeks. It's awful.
It's definitely marketed towards younger kids.
I can definitely.
I think
see
they're
that,
also in middle. He's in his first year of high school, I believe.
Possibly, but that's not like a new setting.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Battery's doing the same thing. And
Battery's in middle school.
Battery's in middle school. They're way more mature than the Days main characters.
That's because Battery is freaking fantastic. Can we talk, while we're talking about sports anime, can we talk about Battery for a sec? Oh my goodness. It is, first of all, it looks gorgeous.
Looks really good.
Shout out to Spironix for letting me know that the person who's in charge of the color design for this also did Horo no Musuko. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Probably not.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
But the watercolors are gorgeous. Like, wow, it just looks phenomenal. It really looks like Noitamina, which is the broadcasting block that Battery is airing on, and they used to tend to do more shoujo-esque josei anime. They're really pulling out the stops for this because it looks great, and the voice acting is phenomenal too.
Yeah, I was looking up
the main character.
I was looking up voices because the main character's little brother, I thought I recognized him, and I was like, oh, I wonder what else he did. And I looked it up, and it's like, oh no, it's just an actual kid. Like, this never done anything else. He's just like some like 10-year-old. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, he sounds like a 10-year-old. Good job.
Doing a good job of that. But yeah, the main character is voiced by Uchiyama Koki, who also did Meruem, Ski from Haikyuu, Kanye from Amagi Brilliant Park. So
Raku
he's like
from Nichijou.
And Ichigo from
Nisekoi.
Infinite Stratos.
Nisekoi.
Yeah. Raku and Nichijou. But yeah, he's perfectly pulling off the super cocky, like, ace pitcher.
Oh man,
and it's so much fun to watch.
I actually, this is what's proving, because I have an irrational hatred for novel adaptations. This is kind of breaking that a little bit.
Okay,
I am enjoying each episode. It's a bit slow for my taste. Like, I thought they would have been doing something by episode 3 out of 11.
Right.
But I don't know. Like, I like the character. I can see some very clear potential for development with, like, between him and his catcher.
Right.
And so I think I'm interested to see where this goes. And I like sports, so
yeah, it looks great. It sounds great. So I have a lot of hopes for it, even if it is only 11 episodes.
Oh well, there's always a potential for a second season.
Yeah, just looking at the images of this, you guys have kind of maybe sold me on this. I might start it.
Oh man, it's
I think
great. The main character,
you'd like it.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit angsty at points.
It makes sense when you consider they're middle schoolers.
he's kind of going into a rebellious phase, and he doesn't take crap from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but it's like a glorious way of not taking crap from
I don't
anyone.
think this is really a spoiler, but in the latest episode, his baseball coach told him, like, hey, your hair's too long, go get it cut. And he's just like, why would I get my hair cut? That doesn't affect my ability to play baseball at all. He's like, because I'm your coach and I told you. He goes, I'll listen to you when you tell me something relevant.
Okay, yeah, as someone who, like, played a lot of sports as a kid and also just kind of had massively long hair and, like, was kind of a weird kid like that, I relate to that shit. I might, all right. That could be fun.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, it was. It's nice because he's also just like, I don't even like. One of his teammates like, "What if coach doesn't put you into play until you cut your hair?" And it's like, I don't need to play. I'm not gonna cut my hair. And they're like, "What are you talking about? You're so good." He's like, whatever. And it's glorious. He's an amazing douchebag. And he's also like, he's not just single-faceted douchebag all the time. Like, there are cracks in the armor where you can see, like, there are certain people in his life he really cares about. And, like, he understands, like, at one point he's like, I'm such a jerk to himself once he realizes he messed up.
Yeah.
So, it's nice. He's a well-written douchebag. Okay.
Yeah, I could probably watch this and reminisce about how sad I am I quit soccer. This sounds actually kind of fun.
So I guess with that we can move on to our next show. We'll go back Taboo Tattoo.
All right.
If anyone is anyone here watching that?
Yep.
17 is. I don't know how I feel about this. This show makes me understand the people that don't like Full Metal Alchemist comedy.
Huh.
How's that?
Because I always hear the complaint from people like, "Oh, Full Metal Alchemist like comedy was jarring." And I was always like, it's fine. And I watched Taboo Tattoo and I go, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. Taboo Tattoo is, and I might offend some people with this because I don't know how popular it is, but honestly, I feel like it's one of the worst shows I've seen in a while.
Oh, wow, okay. I mean, I kind of like it.
Wait, did you not watch The Lost Village last season?
Oh, I did watch half of that. I fucking love that. But Taboo Tattoo is the kind that I feel like I have a hard time enjoying, even ironically.
Oh god.
Oh wow.
I am. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of like being a bit edgy here, but but what I felt like was like every single interaction and everything that was going on just felt like they were just shoving tropes together as an excuse to string fight scenes into each other. And like none of it felt remotely original or inspired or well done. Like they're just like, oh man. On the other hand, though, I do think that the fight scenes that they were kind of ham-fistedly stringing together were pretty cool.
Oh, the fight scenes are the camera work in the fight scenes is really good.
Yeah, the camera work in the fight scenes is fun. They also are actually like a little bit inventive with their fight scenes, which I was surprised by. Like, as I was just kind of like watching and letting my brain slip out through one ear, all of a sudden like a fight scene happens and I'm like, oh, they like put thought into like the tactics that people would use in like this like crappy fight scene. Wish they would do that for the dialogue.
Well, I mean, it is animated by JC Staff.
Yeah,
and I thought I recently watched Railgun S. And I thought the fight scenes in that, I thought the fight scenes in that, like in the Sisters arc, were really good. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
But seeing it in Taboo Tattoo, it kind of like it feels like they built off of it for me. I mean, maybe it's just like my recency or whatever. But yeah, the fight scenes are great. I see what you're saying about everything between the fights. It's kind of a mess. It reminds me of it makes me. I feel like it's a slightly more put together version of Big Order. But with way better fights.
Yeah, no, the fight scenes are legitimately really cool. And the other thing that I think is kind of funny about the fight scenes is that I'll be sitting there and thinking this comedy just doesn't work for me throughout most of the show. And they'll get into a fight scene, and someone will say something, and I'm like, oh, that was actually funny. Like, it feels like they actually put, like, writing effort into the fight scenes. Even in the dialogue, which I feel like is kind of crap to the rest of it. And it's just kind of a bizarre, like, shift as all of a sudden it gets to like, I could see this almost having been a good show had it done this well for the entire runtime instead of like 5 minutes an episode.
I think one of the best parts about the show is the character names.
Yeah, the character names are great.
You have Bluesy Floozy,
Fruzy, thank you.
What?
Which is an amazing name. The main character's name is Justice. No, his name is Seigi, which is Japanese for justice. But his nickname is Justice. Like, his nickname is just the English version of his name.
Man.
And then you have that I can't remember his name, but you have the guy with the glasses who basically exists to get hurt. He's just getting injured all the time. And
Yeah.
Oh, so you have Yamcha.
and he's voiced by Sugita.
Oh, what? What's Sugita doing in a show like this?
It's an interesting show for sure. I like watching it because like you said, it's basically just like dumb but with really good fight scenes, and
Yeah.
it keeps my attention and keeps me entertained. So
Yeah, I mean, if you enjoy it for the dumb fun, then go the fuck ahead. It's just for me, like, personally, I just cannot stand anything but the fight scenes.
so you just watch it on mute, and like, oh, fight scene starting, here we go.
Yeah.
Just watch it on Sakugaburo.
Pretty much, yeah, that's what I need to do.
Oh man.
All right, so I guess we move on to the next show that I haven't seen, which is Amaama to Inazuma, or Sweetness and Lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This is fun.
all yours, guys.
Yeah, so you're caught up on this, so you should probably kick us off, and I've seen, like, most of it, so I can join in after.
Yeah, so it's a really nice show about a single father and his daughter, and trying to provide a healthy meal and like a healthy environment, happy environment for his only daughter. And the dad is kind of absent-minded at times, and of course he's busy. They mention how it's only been a few months since the passing away of his wife, so you know there's like feels moments here and there when they bring up the passing of the mother, and you know it's gonna go down that route eventually. But for the most part, it's just like a heartwarming show each and every week. Like, I watch it with a giant smile on my face. And you mentioned how in Battery they cast like an actual like kid to play the kid brother. They did the same thing for Amaama. The daughter is played by a girl who I think is like 10, 11 years
Wow,
old.
okay, that's pretty.
I did not expect that.
pretty
She's
cool.
doing an excellent job for a kid.
Yeah. So I was listening. I was like, wow, this actress is like really nailing
Yeah.
sounding like a kid. And surprise, surprise, she's actually
Yeah,
a
I'm
kid.
surprised they would
Explains
do
it.
that for a main role, because that
seems like
a
a
lot
big
for-
like you don't want. That's like the one person you don't want to mess up, because from what I understand, she's like the reason to watch the show. But
Right.
it's her and her father are the people who get far and away the most dialogue. So
right. And so if you have like the main character without good dialogue, like we even mentioned that for Orange, like if it was some random person that fell off the street, it wouldn't work.
yeah.
Right.
So no, I didn't know that. That's actually pretty
She's-
impressive.
Yeah. She manages to pull off like sounding really endearing. So like you really feel for her and her quest to eat good food because like her father doesn't know how to cook at all.
Yeah.
So
And so, yeah, I mentioned this to you guys like a little bit before the cast, but this show I'm definitely going to continue with, and I'm enjoying a lot. The one single issue that I had with it was not, I think, like a flaw of the show, but more just my personal taste, where it feels like oftentimes it delves too far into the realm of just kind of like moe for moe's sake. But outside of that, I think the story is really pretty solid, and I'm just looking forward to finishing it.
yeah, I never watched the anime for Usagi Drop, but I did read the manga, and it has the same sort of kind of family first feel. That's just really sweet and heartwarming, and there really isn't much drama to it. It's a nice show to watch. It's a healing anime. And then, of course, there's the elephant in the room, I guess, or the potential elephant in the room, of the fact that one of the main characters is a student. So the dad is also a teacher,
Yeah.
and one of the main characters is a female student in his class, a first year in high school. And she kind of helps getting the food together and providing for an environment and like being close with the daughter. And like most of the people I know are just like, please don't have the student hook up with the teacher.
Oh,
Just please,
yeah.
please don't do this. Please, just for the sake of everything that's good and holy, don't have that.
Yeah, and they almost seem to be hinting at that as a direction, and so it's just kind of like, ooh, I just really hope they don't do that, or like, if they do, please have it be like after a time skip or something, just like,
Like 20 years in the future, please.
Yeah,
just like
I
not right now.
watched the show recently. I don't want to say what it is because of spoilers, but where a student ended up like getting together with the teacher, and I was just like I get it, but it's weird. Like,
It's really weird.
Yeah, I mean, in
do
this
that.
case, it's especially like odd, just because it is like a first year student.
right?
It's a first year student and a single father.
Yeah, yeah, those things just don't mesh.
It's
I mean,
It's
to make it,
just-
I guess, a little bit better. My example, I think, was like like he was like a third year, and then she was the teacher, so like a bit like a young teacher. So like they were closer in age, but it's still like someone like that. Like you don't. That's just weird to me. I could never imagine doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, it could turn out that this show is just entirely innocent in its intentions, and we have no reason to worry. But
we're all just horrible people. Then just assume the worst.
yeah,
we've been burned before.
Yeah.
We don't come up with this out of nowhere. We've been burned before.
it's just that sometimes an anime will,
We'll go kind of crazy. Yeah.
yeah,
it just drops in quality. Let's put it that way.
nice reference there.
But I mean, it's not like the character is bad. Like the female student, like her name is Kotori, I think. She's really
No,
good.
she's definitely
like-
a good character. It's just is like,
And she's
Yeah.
she's voiced by Hayami Saori as well, who's done so many roles like Yukino from Origairu, Shirayuki from Akagami no
She
Shirayuki
was.
Hime.
A lot of people know her from Ino Battle as Hatoko. She had the really big speech that everybody and their mother knows, even if no one's actually watched the show.
But yeah, so she's doing a great job there. And like there's nothing yet that hints at like an illicit relationship, or maybe there is, and we're just like all pretending not to see it.
yeah. It's mostly just like, as you mentioned before we started the podcast, that she is like blushing like almost every second she is on screen.
Right. She's not even like blushing directly because of something. She's just
Yeah.
it's like her perpetual state.
Yeah, which just gives the impression that she's kind of meant to be a romantic interest, because that's what anime often do for that. And so it almost just seems like this kind of clue in that is out of place. And so it could very easily just be like how they did her character design and not be anything relevant.
So that's the character that I've heard about that just has a really weird face that people can't seem to get
No,
over.
that's I think from a Manchu.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I know
With
I
the
know the
frog
face from a
face.
Manchu, but I thought there was someone in Amaama that I heard that said like was really weird. Maybe it was her. I think it was maybe that she was blushing all the time. But
Oh,
there was-
maybe.
I've heard some like people like are turned off by it a little bit because they just find it really weird.
But yeah, it's a fun show. And so far, I have no complaints. So
Yeah.
far.
For sure,
always good.
same.
That's always good to hear. I'm probably not gonna watch. I'm not watching it now, and I probably won't watch it because I don't really do the slice of life moe, cute girls do cute things thing.
I wouldn't necessarily put a cute girls doing cute things, but it's definitely slice of life.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't a big fan of like Barakamon, for example. So I don't know. I think I've heard them compared.
Yeah.
A bit,
Okay.
So I don't know how I've. So yeah, I guess.
Anything else
That's
you guys
Amaama.
want to
Yeah,
talk
do you have
about?
any other shows?
Yeah.
I think I've exhausted mine.
Yeah, I think
what I've
much covers
seen.
it for me.
I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Bananya.
Oh, of
the
course!
anime
Oh,
of the
How could we
century.
forget? How could we forget Bananya? That show. Okay, Bananya. Memes aside, it's pretty enjoyable. I like it. It's a nice way to start my week. Wake up Monday morning, watch 3 minutes of cat bananas.
Okay, wait, what is this show?
So okay, so it's a banana, right?
Uh-huh.
But when you open it up, it's a cat.
Oh, Bananya. Oh my fucking god, that's the title.
The realization.
It's just as that kind of dawns on me.
So Bananya, voiced by Yuki Kaji, who you might know as Eren from Attack on Titan, or
Okay, this show sounds amazing.
Bananya's dream is to be chocolate covered.
Banana.
Chocolate covered banana. It's a short. It's just 3 minutes. It's just 3 minutes of adorableness and potassium.
It's got a lot of great cast too. Like, it has a wide diversity. There's like baby Bananya. There's the tabby cat Bananya.
Oh God.
There's the
girl Bananya.
There's the girl Bananya. There's the fancy like snob. He's not even a snob. It's like Fabio Banana.
I probably won't enjoy
Fabio
the
Banana,
show,
and then
but
the
you
guy-
fuckers have sold me on the goddamn memes. Like,
And then there's like, it's not even a babe. This is legitimately the show. There's the guy Bananya who's in love with the girl Bananya, but the girl Bananya loves Fabio Bananya. There's like a love triangle.
The narrator's great too. Like,
oh my god.
the narrator sells the show, man.
The narrator is he's like, oh yeah? Oh yeah? It's like that one clip from Haikyuu. Like, oh yeah? And he's like, oh, and it's just like, oh, it's the Bananya. And then like, he makes friends with a mouse over a cracker and has like the cutest friendship montage of all time.
And then realizes that he's a cat and he's not supposed to like mice.
But never do they realize they're bananas.
So the show's kind of like what you're. It's kind of like Toy Story. It's like what your bananas do when you're not around.
Oh my god.
It's hard to look at banana the same way. Like, you look at a banana that you haven't eaten yet and are like, are you a cat inside?
It's like Schrodinger's banana.
Fucking hell.
So yeah, definitely everybody should watch Bananya. It's pretty amazing.
There's no reason not to watch banana.
I can't think of one.
Alright.
No.
Alright.
So clearly we're not going to get any better than that. So I guess we'll end it here. So thanks for joining us. Nice to have you on a podcast, Fate.
Oh, thanks.
For the first time.
Happy to be on.
So yeah, those are our impressions of summer. Go ahead and tell us what your favorite show of summer is. Oh, we did leave off sequels and leftovers on purpose, because otherwise I would just be sitting here talking about JoJo the whole time, and nobody wants that. There's a podcast of that. It's an hour of just me and a few people talking about JoJo, so you can go to that.
Yeah, also, if you watched Arslan, definitely watch the second season of Arslan, because Arslan is dope, and you'll get to listen to what's-his-face yell Denkai every 5 seconds.
God damn, I actually need to finish the first season of Arslan. I started that.
I need to pick it up. I meant to pick it up, I never did. Oh, another show that's coming out weirdly is a 4-episode special for 7 Deadly Sins is starting at the end of September.
Ooh.
Or in August. So Arslan is 8 episodes.
Yeah,
and then
it's a weird second season.
Nanatsu no Taizai is 4 episodes, so they're gonna, that time slot's gonna switch from Arslan and to 7 Deadly Sins, like 2/3 of the way in.
Cool.
So yeah,
see, this podcast is so educational for your TV viewing habits over there in Japan.
Even though they're not gonna, it's not gonna help anybody at all. So yeah, so thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Later.
Bye.